Anastasia, will you introduce yourself?
Hi, yes. So my name is Anastasia, and I have been listening to your podcast like from the beginning. I feel like I've listened to, I can't say I've listened to every single episode. And what I really appreciate about yours is the naturalness of your podcast, the people you have on, just how you speak is you if I went to go have coffee with you somewhere
Yes, totally.
and it's like I'm having a little conversation with Christie about whatever it is on that episode. And I feel like it was like a lot of real life emotions that you would go through when you're having anxiety, when you're having low self-esteem, low self-confidence. And for a marathon, you have to really lock into those emotions. Training for a marathon really awakens you to your self-esteem, to your self-confidence, where you're at in that stream of time and in your emotions. And if you're having a really low moment in other areas of your life and you're trying to do a marathon, that can be really difficult. And you can talk yourself out of it really quick.
Wow. That's such a powerful perspective, that I wouldn't have thought, particularly for running, because I know it's such a release for you. So,
I would say anybody training for anything, even if you've never run before and your goal is I want to run 2 miles. Listening to your podcast with the specific about honing in on your self-esteem, your self-confidence, your self-worth, that can help you run 2 miles and then 5 miles and then so on.
oh, I love that so much.
Yeah.
So the motivation to run a marathon is very specific for each person. What was yours?
Yeah, so I have to like go back to
Take me back.
yeah, taking me back because I never grew up as a runner. Like I didn't do track and field in high school or like anything like that. I really honestly hated running. Like there were times when I was young, I'd go run with my dad and like that was nice, but we both hated like the actual running aspect of it. I ran with my friends doing some 5Ks, right after high school, but that was more of like a social thing, not really. We were just doing it for fun, I wasn't doing it for myself. That was just to hang out really with friends. But during COVID, a lot of people had to find outlets to release some of the stress, the loneliness, the cooped upness. And so for me, I started running. And I was just doing like, 2 miles, 5K, something simple. And I hated every moment of it, Christy.
Mm, mm.
It like the breathing and the out of breath, and my knees were hurting, and it was just but my husband, Jordan, really wanted to run a half marathon. And also my best friend, she wanted to run a half marathon too. She had already run one before. Another one of her friends was running one. It was coming up. And so I was hearing all this talk about this half marathon, and I kind of felt like FOMO. Like, oh, like if my husband's gonna run a half marathon, I gotta run a half marathon. It
Yeah.
was literally my thought process. And I didn't have any other thoughts. I pulled out that credit card and just boom, I just very quickly, without thinking, signed up for a half marathon. And then I was like, oh no, what did I sign up for?
Yeah.
Like, what did I get myself into? Well, 3 half marathons later, I love it.
Hmm.
I absolutely, I love running now, but I had to change my mindset. Training for that first and kind of second half marathon is what made me realize, whoa, I've got some self-esteem issues. I've got some things that would hold me back from feeling good when I crossed that finish line. I would cross that
Hmm.
finish line, and the main thing I was thinking about was my time okay? Was this, did I beat my personal best? Or I was going back in my head and thinking, man, well, I don't know, mile 9 or mile 10, I was thinking, negative thoughts and that whole, you see? And so once I realized I really needed to work on more of my inner self, and I honed in on what were some of those things I needed to work on, then I started to realize I could do this. Like I could run a full marathon,
Ooh.
you know? And what would that look like? Could I do that? What would the challenges be? I would ask myself all of these questions. And that's when I realized, like, okay, if I'm ever going to run a full marathon, then I've got to figure out what my why is. Why am I doing all of this? Why am I running the full marathon? So changing my mindset is actually what led me into wanting to run a full marathon.
That is fascinating. That is fascinating. Yeah, because when you get to a certain point in a half, because I've only, been to a half, when you get to a certain point, you would just be like, why am I even doing this? In your training, like before even ever getting there. So no doubt you have to keep checking with yourself and what's
Yeah.
the why, what's the purpose? What did your why become? Because it sounds like it started out as just like, hey, if my husband's going to do this, I'm going to do it.
I think the motivation came from that I wanted to prove to myself that I could do something for myself.
Mm.
Not because my husband's doing it, not because my friends are doing it, not because some social media influencer has influenced me to do it, or that this is the social norm expectation. Like there's all these memes going on that like, you're a millennial if you're training for a marathon, which is ironically true because I am a millennial
Right.
training for marathons.
You're like, I
But
don't follow stereotypes.
but
Yeah.
your why. Like I wouldn't want anyone to go run a marathon just because I did it. You
Right.
know? And you can't really honestly, for me, you can't sustain running when you have that type of mindset, when you're doing things for other people. And I feel like that's now translated into other parts of my life. Like we moved to Thailand and lived there for a year. And if our only reason for moving was because everybody expected us to go do this big, great thing and to go help people in another country, but if that's your only why is because everybody expects you to do it, you will not last
Hmm.
in doing it. It has to come from something way, way deeper than that.
I know for myself, even, it was very hard to see what that difference was, coming to know myself. Like, is this something I really want to do? And I think for a while, I didn't see when there was something that I only felt pressure to do from expectation. I just thought, well, maybe I should be doing it. And so I would get so deep into the process or the work or the schedule. And then halfway through, just be like, I don't even want this. Like,
Yeah.
I don't
Yes.
even want this. Yeah. And I think you do have to go through some of those to find it. I don't think you can always prepare in advance, but there definitely is a point. Like, I feel like in my life now, and it sounds like for you too, you do come to a point in your life, and I think it's from the self-esteem work, from awareness, from trial and error, where you're like, before I do this thing that seems really inspiring to me, like, what are my reasons? It almost becomes like the filter through which you're like, because if I'm going to do it, I'm going to do it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, for
Yeah.
sure. And like I had to really lock in into my bigger why because what happens is we're human, we're imperfect, we yo-yo. So there are times where we kind of have a good why. We've convinced ourselves of a why, but I found myself slipping back into a little bit of that FOMO, slipping back into and it really came with the timing of things. I'm really happy I did the marathon when I did it. But I will say there was a part in the training where I realized I signed up for this marathon because other people were doing a marathon. And it was the
Mhm.
when people were doing it. Not that I didn't, I had my overall bigger why of one day I want to do a marathon. But the when came a little sooner because
Yeah.
I slipped back into, oh my gosh, and I was excited and signed up for that full marathon. But I had compassion and grace with myself. I didn't beat myself up over it. I wasn't mad at myself over it. It was just a realization moment, like, oh, maybe we chose this a little soon, but that's okay. We're here now. We're here now. So let's just lock back in. And when I realized really when you lock into my bigger why, I realize that what it is that sometimes we do painful things, we do hard things. And this training, this physical training of the body, of waking up and running 3, 4 times a week, and all of the nutrition that you got to be locked into, all of this stuff is also training for your mind.
Hmm.
And then if I can accomplish this hard thing of running this marathon, of running this, what is it, 42K, 26.2 miles, I can do other hard things too. And it's not for other people. I'm not going to go do these other hard things because other people expect me to do these hard things or whatever, but because I want to attack and do these hard things.
Yes.
And I think that's what really motivated me to finish the training, right? Like, I'm not going to drop out. Yep, it's a little soon. We're here now. It's okay. We're going to level up. We're going to run this marathon, and we're going to come at it with, we're training our mind now from a point of view.
I love that. Honestly, while you were talking, it just made me think about entrepreneurship. You know, for those that, you know, they have a desire to get into entrepreneurship, they know they're going to do it. It's like, to a degree, for those who pursue it, is a lifelong type of marathon. And like you said, you have to keep locking in. And if you get into it because of expectation, or if you get into it because you're like, I want to get results fast and it's easy, it's like a kind of like a misview of what it's all about. These are the ones that don't make it. These are the ones that don't make it, right? And it doesn't say anything negative about them. It's just a reminder about, like, if this is something you want to do, the part where you think, oh my gosh, I don't think I can get through this, is a part of the process, even when you want it badly. What was that actual experience like, running it versus what you thought it would be?
The hardest thing, the
Yeah.
hardest thing I've ever done in my life.
Wow.
I'm serious. Harder than moving to Thailand in some form or fashion. I thought, okay, you know, I've done 3 halves. Okay, I've done 3 half marathons. I've trained for 3 half marathons. So I thought, I mean, you know, I'm going to show up and it's going to be hard. You know, like, I kind of had that realization, like, okay, this is double than what I've done before. This is going to be difficult. I got my nutrition, you know, pretty down. So what else is there really besides the mental game part of it that I knew I was going to have to really lock in during the race? But I really didn't realize how hard it was going to be. And for two things, one, physically, it was really difficult. I mean, just not gonna lie. It was really, really physically hard. My hip went out. I would
Ooh.
say I had 10K left.
Mm.
And physically, it was like my right side just didn't want to work anymore.
Mm.
And we tried everything. I mean, I stretched, I pulled over, I stretched. A really nice guy, like, I guess their kind of version of an EMT, because this was in Thailand, by the way,
It
folks.
was
So,
in
right?
Thailand.
Yeah,
Okay.
so this is my full marathon in Thailand. So also a different experience than running an American race, because this race starts at 3 o'clock in the morning.
Nice.
So that was something I also did not prepare for, and I didn't train for, because I don't know, you know, assumptions sometimes can hurt you. And so I just assumed, oh, well, I mean, I'll just go to bed earlier. Well, no, that doesn't work. We should have prepared for that, folks. So,
Good to
but
know. Yeah.
yeah, if you ever start a race at 3 o'clock in the morning, prepare and maybe do some runs at 3 in the morning so you know how your body's going to feel, because I didn't, and it didn't go so well. But yeah, we tried everything, and I was in literal tears towards the end of the race. And I was crying for two reasons. One, because my hip hurt and
Yeah.
it was just really, really painful. But two, that's where all of the voices in your head start coming of, we're not going to finish. We're not going to make our time goal that we had. Um, Words like, you're so dumb, why didn't you train for this, why didn't you train longer, why'd you sign up for this? I mean, these are real things that were going through my head. I'm holding back Jordan because he was running with me. I told him several times, just go, you know, because now his time is going to be slower, you know, all of these things that came through my brain, that I had to take a moment. And that's where your episodes and your podcast really came back. Like, okay, these are thoughts. What are we going to do with these thoughts? We're going to capture these thoughts. And I had to really, really work through, what do those thoughts really mean about me?
Mm-hmm.
They didn't mean anything. I'm not dumb. I'm hurt, physically hurt. There's nothing I could do about that. This is
Yes, that's so important. It's such an important distinction. Like, I hate that my brain calls me an idiot constantly, right? And
yeah,
it's just so funny to see it, be able to call it out and be like, it's just fascinating why this happens. But in the moment when you need like your power and your choice the most to come through, when they pop up, they're so loud. It's
yeah.
like they're trying to pull you back, pull you back. And I love how the way that you expressed it, the realness of it, like it brought you to tears and you're in pain physically and you had to step up above those thoughts
Yeah.
and pull them towards you, right? Like how would you, so those are my words, right? But like how would you describe that, like what you did with those thoughts once you spotted them and you saw them and realized what had to be done?
So I basically, once I realized what was happening, like I realized, okay, you're having a lot of negative thoughts on Celsius right now, and you're almost there. I would say 10K, like if we put ourselves there at 10K left and at 11K left, I was feeling great. I was like, whoa, we're gonna make this. We're gonna make my time. It's gonna be amazing. And literally 1K later, I was like depressed. Like, what in the world?
Yeah.
It took me 5K to get it together. It took me, in all reality, it took me 5K to realize I'm having negative thoughts about myself and to then make the choice to do something about it. Instead of staying in it, I had to do something about it. And so literally, I pulled over, I took a deep breath, and I said, okay, what's reality? What's real?
Mm.
What's happening right now? What was happening is my hip was hurt. My hip flexor was completely overdone, and it had nothing else left to give. That was just the physical reality. I looked at the watch. I said, okay, we're going to be about 20 minutes more than what I wanted to run. That means we're going to be here now for about, I don't know, 45 more minutes. That's what the reality of it is. I have 45 minutes to get this done. What am I going to think about for 45 minutes?
So good.
And that's what I decided to do is we're not going to think anymore that I'm dumb. We're not going to think about why did I sign up for this race? We know why I signed up for this race. I wanted to do something hard. Well, guess what? Here's the hard.
Here it is.
Here it is. You ready to face it? You're ready to buck up? And literally, I felt like I had to pull myself out of this cycle, this spiral that I was doing for 5 kilometers. No, we're not doing it anymore. We're not going to spend the last 45 minutes of my race that I have worked so hard for and that so many people on this planet don't even get to do, whether circumstances, health, whatever. We're not going to spend the last 45 minutes crying. That's what I would say is what I did. And so then once I was able to do that, then it was just the constant like, nope, nope, nope. I found myself, nope. I literally was saying out loud. I didn't care if people thought I was crazy.
Yes.
No, we're not thinking this. You're doing great. Just keep moving forward. All you got to do is put one foot in front of each other. That means we're walking, people. And then I would run a little bit and it would hurt. And I'd be like, okay, you just run until you physically cannot do it anymore. And then when I would say, nope, okay, Jordan, I can't, it hurts, we'd walk. And that's how we did it until we finished that and got across the finish line.
Oh my goodness. What were your thoughts across the finish line?
I couldn't believe that I did it. Like,
Wow.
like I thought that I was gonna cross the finish line and be like crying or I don't know, like all these things. And I had one solid tear come down. But I was just so proud of myself that I didn't let myself spiral completely. I was proud of myself and I was so proud and thankful for Jordan too, because he was right there with me, cheering me on the whole way, helping me to see, like, reminding me all the hard work that we did and look, we're here, and showing me other beautiful things too. Like when you
Mm.
take yourself out of it, it's like there was a fountain and beautiful flowers and people cheering you on, and all of that would have been missed if I would have stayed in that negative moment and those negative thoughts. So when I crossed the finish line, they handed me the medal. I was shaking. I grabbed my medal, I grabbed my finisher's t-shirt, and I just couldn't kind of believe what just happened.
Yeah, for sure. You're like, where's my snack?
Yeah.
I'm hungry. Oh, wow. That is incredible. What growth and appreciation have you seen in yourself over those moments since?
Yeah, a lot, a lot. One of the biggest things that I really worked on too in this year of me moving to Thailand, which is why in hindsight, I am glad that I signed up for the marathon when I did, even though it was a little soon, was that this was a season of my life where I could really regain full self-confidence.
Mm,
Because you just can't do this type of challenge for other people. Um, I didn't want to do this for Instagram followers. I didn't want to do this for money. I knew it was not going to run that fast, that I wasn't going to win any prize, you know? I didn't want to do this to make someone else proud. And I say that, and I'm happy and appreciative for the people who've said to me, oh, they're so proud of me and all that. But I've lived a lot of my life, I think, unknowingly doing things because I want to make people proud. And I just decided that I want to flip that and say, you know what? I want to first make myself proud, you know?
mm,
Like do something. It's not that I want to be a prideful person, but a healthy sense of self-worth
yes.
first. And the bonus is that there's going to be people that say, hey, we're really proud of you. Good job. That's a bonus that I get. And so I really I wanted to do this to kind of prove to myself that that is true.
I love that so much. Yeah. And that's the work that lasts,
Yeah.
right? Because it's like if we're only doing it to make other people proud when they're not, what's the motivation?
Yeah.
Right? Because we can create a picture in our mind that if we're coming from, I want to do this so others will be proud because we are not proud of ourselves.
Yeah.
If it's not provided in the way that we'd hoped for, we feel like we did a lot of that work for nothing, which is never the case. Right?
Mhm.
Even if we did work like against our will or we did work out of wanting, someone to be proud of us, the work that we did was still worth it. But we
Yeah.
completely lose that power of what we did accomplish if that is the only motivation.
Mhm.
So I love how you speak to that. And I think it really stands out as a marker between what self-confidence really looks like. It's like, I'm going to choose this because one, it's deeply meaningful. I'm willing to do the hard work. It will have a payoff and reward, and I'm willing to learn a lot about myself and this thing as I go. So ultimately, like even in the program, Authentic Confidence program, it's like taking those skills from the podcast, taking those skills from the program, and that becomes a repeatable process. It's like you take that person now with you into every next thing. You're like, is this deeply meaningful to me? Yes or no? Okay, I'm going to do it.
Yeah, 100%. And I would say one of the payoffs, one of the things that I learned that really helped me was a moment um, in my training that I had where I really had to like dig deep down. But it really helped to prove basically everything that you said about how this all helps you in the future. And running and training in Thailand, especially during rainy season, is sometimes not always the most fun thing in the world. But there was this moment where we showed up, me and Jordan, to train, and it was completely dark outside, 5 a.m., torrential downpour. I mean, just raining. It was not going to let up. And so we had to make the decision if we were going to go for this run. There was no thunderstorm, there was no lightning, so there's no danger involved. But I don't know if you know this about me, but I'm really afraid of the dark.
No, I did not know.
I do not like the dark. And Jordan runs faster than me. So typically where we go, we run separately. So this was a moment that I had to be like, okay, I'm here. It's dark and I'm scared and it's raining. And I also don't want to run in the rain because who wants to run in the rain? Um, am I going to do this really scary thing that up into this podcast that we're talking on now, no one's going to know about? This is literally between me and the pavement and the rain and the darkness.
Mm.
And in that moment, I had to put some loud music on, really focus, Because at this point, Jordan's gone. So here we are. We're stuck here. He's gone running. And what came to mind was something that David Goggins had said, which if you haven't read his book, Can't Hurt Me, it's really good and really motivational. But he talks about visiting suffering. And he said that you don't have to live in suffering and in pain to improve in your life, but you do visit it. Like people hate working out, right? But you only work out for maybe 1 hour a day, maybe 3-4 times a week. Most people don't work out every day. So you visit that suffering for a little tiny bit in your whole 24-hour day. But for 23 hours of the day, you're not in it. You're not suffering. So I thought to myself, this run, again, it's only like 35, 45 minutes, right? So can I visit this suffering? Can I visit this fear of running in the dark, running in the pouring down rain? And I did, because we're here, we're going to do it. Because the only way that I'm going to not just face this fear is get in the fear. Now I'm holding hands with the fear. And I'm telling you, I hated it, Christie. Every moment, every scary bend, every, when it got harder raining, when there was a tree, you're running and you've got the little flashlight thing and the tree moves weird.
Yeah, you're like, what was that?
I hated every moment of it. But I didn't want to just say, no, I can't do it. I can't do it. Because guess what I did? And when I finished it, I was like, oh, that was nothing. I'm fine. I'm not hurt. The darkness didn't do anything to me. It was just dark. It's the same place as if it was light. And so we kept doing that week after week, running in the dark, running in the rain. And before you know it, now I'm less scared. I'm still a little tiny bit scared.
Yeah, that's okay.
I still don't like the dark. But I learned, and something that I also learned through this season of my life is that it's okay to do things scared.
Yeah.
It's okay to have a little bit of fear. If we are always not doing something because we're scared to do it, then we're going to turn around and look back, and there's going to be a whole lot of things we didn't do.
Yes.
And we might have a little bit of regret. We might have a little bit of resentment with ourselves. And I know I did. There's a lot of things that I haven't done in my life that I had to heal through because I was too scared to do it. So I realize now it's okay. Well, just do it. Do it scared. And doing that has really helped me to grow my self-confidence because there's a lot of things that I was worried about that was giving me fears that never happened. Like running in the dark, nothing happened. It's also strengthened my faith because there's a lot of things that look scary that really, if you have all of your faith and everything that you've read in the Bible to help you to be there to guide you, it's fine. You'll be okay.
Yes. I love that so much. Yeah. And prayer is a big helper through any of it, right? Low self-esteem, fear, right? It's such an anchor, right?
Yeah.
So you're not doing things alone, right? It's like the part you bring and your self-confidence matched with that beautiful faith, which is huge. I mean, indescribably huge. So thank you for pointing that out. What would you like to leave our lovely listeners with?
Oh, your why. I mean, I went back to your very first episode when I was having a really low motivation moment. and I was reminded that motivation can be crap because we can have high days where we're like, yes, and then we have days where we're like, no, I don't want to do this. But your why. Focus on your why and not your friend's why, not your spouse's why, not your parents' why, your why. Because when you do things for yourself, not because of what other people expect of you to do, your self-confidence, your self-esteem, your self-worth is all going to go up. It's all going to go up in a very natural and healthy way. We're not talking about being a prideful person or anything like that, but just having that when you look in the mirror, you're happy with yourself. You're happy with what you're doing in your life because you are confident in your own why, whatever that is. And don't beat yourself up if you're listening to this and you realize, oh man, I've been doing stuff for other people this whole time. I've been doing this because of what other people expect of me. I'm going to be so stupid, or whatever other negative feelings you might be feeling. Because I was literally there. I was literally there in Thailand, sitting there thinking, oh my gosh, there have been things and choices that I made that maybe weren't 100% of because it was my own personal why. But it's okay. We're imperfect. You know, we're going to have those moments in our life. People put conditions of worth on other people. We don't mean anything by it. We're human. I mean, that's what we do. We want what's best for other people. So we're going to tell them, you know, I think this is good for you.
Exactly.
You know? But if you only live your life solely based on those conditions of worth, at some point you're going to find yourself living a life that's not even yours anymore. And you don't even know whose life you're living. So use those conditions of worth. What I would offer to people is to use those conditions of worth as guides to make really good choices in life. But at the end of the day, make sure that you're doing it for yourself.
I love it. Thank you so much for sharing that. Yeah, it's an absolute pleasure to have you on today. Thank you so much for sharing your experience, and congratulations on not just the run, but everything that is tied to it that you were able to create.
Oh, well, thank you so much for having me. It's been a real honor and a pleasure to be with you today.